We are live.
Intro! Snazzy. And this one's slow rolling. It's coming. Hang on, folks.
Get that 8-bit funk.
Live, bound and gagged from the trunk of Steve's Alpha, you're listening to Downshift with your hosts, Ryan and Jason. This is the Colorado Cars and Coffee podcast by car enthusiasts for car enthusiasts. Clutch in, gear down, and let's start the show.
Oh, yeah. All right.
Right after 5. Small technical difficulties on both sides here.
2 minutes late. Contrary to what the intro said, we are not actually bound and gagged in the trunk of Steve's Alpha. But thank you.
This is a very spacious trunk, Steve. You got a lot of room in here.
Yeah.
I don't even mind being bound and gagged in this trunk.
Yeah, it's that kind of Mother's Day, right? That's the vibe we're going for on Mother's Day. No, thanks again to Bill Levasseur for being game enough to keep playing with these silly intros and recording these funny little vignettes for us. We definitely appreciate that. He's a real trooper, putting up with all the requests that we throw at him. Well, we have nobody watching us live. I think that's a first. It is Mother's Day.
Not even my mom.
Not even my mom. My mom's in a different time zone, so at least she has an excuse.
Nah, it's all about the replay value.
Yeah.
You have some value here, Jason.
True.
I was gonna say, I think last time we were like, I think we've got this figured out, and then we both just had some silly technical stumbles right before we started. Oh well.
Yep, we wet the bed just ever so slightly, but
Life is a constant learning cycle.
Life is a highway, as they say. If you're going my way.
And we definitely have only one headlight. We're lucky that one's working.
Yeah, one headlight, maybe a couple cylinders down on compression. Yeah, something like that. Well, here we are, and we have things going on. There's a lot going on, actually, despite the fact that we're both kind of a little off today. We have tons of events populating the event guide. We actually just published the summer event guide, Shift Magazine summer event guide, and we have a ton of events in the newsletter and on the social posts. It's like growing and growing. And if there's not an event out there for you, then go make one yourself.
You're the problem.
Yeah. There's literally everything is kicking off now here in May into June.
Go buy a Corvette or a Miata.
Yeah, pretty much.
One of the two is going to solve your problem.
Yeah, maybe an air-cooled 911, like a SC, 911,
something like that.
That would cover all bases.
That would definitely work.
Yeah.
But he's no joke, folks. So many events, it's ridiculous. I goofed one of the dates in this week's weekend event post on Instagram, but corrected it. Oh no, goofed it in the newsletter, corrected it in the weekend events post, and it's already happened. So there's that. But it was a giant list. The work it takes to get all of these events compiled for the newsletter gets to be more and more work every month. The weekend events post on our Instagram account every Thursday night, 5, 6, 7-ish, is also growing exponentially. So much to do. And we will dive into that summer events guide here a little later in the show to give you a sneak peek. If you want to take a look now, it's as easy as Googling Colorado Cars and Coffee Summer Events Guide, but we'll end up dropping that in the comments or something on the YouTube or the Facebook, as they say. And we'll get that going. While we're on that, we skipped over our shameful plug session. Colorado Cars and Coffee. You can find us here on the podcast, Jason and myself, once a month, typically the first weekend. This time we decided to do it on Mother's Day as a gift.
The gift that keeps on giving.
Yeah, sadly. You can find us on Facebook, Instagram, X. I think we're past calling it what used to be Twitter, whatever. YouTube here. Twitch, LinkedIn, Threads. We have a bi-weekly newsletter. We have a quarterly digital magazine, which is really cool. And the summer event guide, which we just dropped. I've already mentioned. We'll get into that later. If you need to know something about cars and car events or things with wheels here in Colorado, we're your source. Maybe not Jason for Cars and Coffee. So check it out.
Yeah, it's pretty. I think the weather here is pretty nice. So I feel like now is peak time when everything, just like the flowers and the pollen is coming out. So too are the cars. I know I washed a car today and I was not yet done drying it, and there was pollen just dusted all over. And I said, well, shoot.
I have a black car, but thankfully it lives in a garage, but then it just gets covered with dust.
Right.
But yeah, it shows. I mean, this was 2 or 3 weeks ago now. I went somewhere and, halfway through the day, you could see it starting. 'Tis the season.
Yep.
Most definitely.
Take your Claritin or your Zyrtec and get out there and drive. That's the main thing. And
the faster you drive, the more it comes off the car.
That's true.
Like driving in the rain in a convertible. Totally possible. You just got to go faster.
Right. Yeah. You need to reach that point where physics, you start defying the laws of physics, right?
What happens if you're driving the speed of light and turn your headlights on type stuff?
Ooh, well then, yes, then you're certainly over driving your headlights at that point. Even if you have, what's the new headlight? Now they have laser headlights. BMW and Audi and all them, they have laser headlights now.
Are the headlights themselves lasers, or are they like laser guided? Yeah. Because I know that some cars have like auto aim.
Yeah.
Stuff.
No, they're actual. The lighting elements are actual lasers. I know. Definitely BMW has it. I believe Mercedes and Audi would have it as well at this point.
Well, they all will. Once one does, as long unless it's a lame standard, like everybody else is going to take it on. And even if it is lame, everyone else is going to take it on for like 6 months to a year, and then go, "Whoa, what do we do that for?"
I just want to know, when one of those units burns out, how much does it cost to replace a BMW laser headlight assembly?
All I wanted was a freaking BMW with lasers on its head.
Yeah. Well, we're actually both bald right now. You shaved your head too, so we could.
I shaved. Yeah, I was tired of my hair growing in like 4 different ways. I sleep funny. I get so like I push it this way and then this comes this way, but it wants to grow forward, but I like doing that, and nope. But that's the beauty of it. Whatever. Start over.
They have these things now called combs, Ryan.
The hair's not long enough in the first place.
Yeah.
So it grows in, like I said, it grows in that way, but I want to do this with it, and then I was getting the wings and like I refuse to pay for a haircut when I can do this in my bathroom in 5 minute rain. You can't even get a cheap haircut for less than like $15 these days. And why?
That's true. You gotta save more money for Berettas and Beretta
car parts.
Car parts.
Hey, you opened the door. I have bought 2 Berettas since we last spoke.
Oh, do tell.
I drove to Roswell. I didn't see any aliens. That was a 17-hour day driving down there and then back again. But for an excellent car, a car that I actually helped build way back in the day, knew the owner 2 or 3 owners ago. So this thing was a gold mine. I got this car $400. Guy's like, it might run, and then I opened in the engine bay and like looked at some of the wiring and was like, not even gonna try.
Uh-oh.
This is done. but it was a gold mine of old, rare, like one-off run parts, like stuff that dudes that worked in a machine shop like built. I think I remember specifically. I think the guy did 20 pieces of a solid billet aluminum transmission mount.
Wow.
For these cars, and like that's on the car. Another old rare piece from a company that doesn't even exist anymore. European headlights, those alone pay for the car and profit.
Not laser beam headlights.
Not laser beams, but they're
Beretta laser. Cool. It's like a what's on the guns, they have the tracking laser.
The laser sight, yeah.
The laser sight, yeah. It would be, that's what Beretta headlights would have.
Yeah. I get the tie-in. I got it. That car's in pieces in the backyard. I really got to get selling stuff. It was that was worth every minute of the drive. That's got all those rare parts are going on the ladies' project car.
Nice.
Stuff you can't even get anymore, and I'm gonna make money. And then I drove to Hotchkiss here in Colorado. The ass of nowhere. It was beautiful. It wasn't like.
Don't they have peach orchards there?
Desolate waste. If they do, I didn't see them.
Oh, okay.
All I saw, I can't believe how many roads were back where I went. Like, I mean, they're all dirt. But at one point I drove by and I'm like, I could, you can like see the grid. Like this is a city block setup, but in a field in the middle of nowhere. I couldn't believe how many street signs there were and how far back I had to go to get to this dude's house. Like, who are you people? What are you doing living out here? It doesn't make any sense. But I brought that one home. That one runs and drives. $200.
Nice.
Yeah.
Wow. Well, Beretta Adventures with Ryan. There's your update for this episode. Ryan's Beretta Adventures.
It's like a super cool animated intro.
Yeah.
Shirts and merch.
Yeah. Ryan's Beretta Adventures. To go with that, like 8-bit intro. Do like an 8-bit Ryan's Beretta Adventures.
It looks like we've got our guest just about queued, but real quick,
yes.
I shared a little bit about what I did since last. I know you were putting miles on Porsches.
I was
want to say, I mean, maybe not go into the full detail we might talk about later, but hit us. What did you do?
So I was home back in upstate New York over Easter break, over Easter weekend. And I drove, my dad and I, we have a 997 Carrera 4 manual. So we drove from where we are in the Mid-Hudson Valley out to Newport, Rhode Island, back, drove a bunch around upstate New York, drove back down into the city. So I put well over 600 miles on the 997 and just loved every minute of it. Also got a chance when we were out in on the way to Newport. We stopped off in the Berkshires in Massachusetts, and we'll talk about this a little bit later after we talk to our guest here in a minute. But I checked out a very cool dealership with some very cool Porsche 968s. They're like the 968 importers. They import all these rest of world models, ROW model 968s, and they just buy and curate. They're basically like they're like the 968 version of who you are, Ryan. They just hoard all the 968s, and they have rare colors and specs and all that. So that was really cool. And we'll talk about that a little bit later. But for now, we are right here at 5:15, and so I want to intro our guest is Mike Burrows. Those of you around the Boulder area might know him or might know some of the events that he hosts. He is the official organizer and head of Fuel Fed Boulder. Fuel Fed, they host a monthly Cars and Classics event, Coffee and Classics event in at around Pearl, Walnut, 8th Street, Boulder. And very, very cool, very chill, laid back cars and coffee style event. They host a couple, if you're a member of Fuel Fed, they host a couple driving events and members rallies throughout the year. And they're growing and getting bigger. And but let's let the man talk for himself. And let's bring in Mr. Mike Burrows, Fuel Fed Boulder. Hey, Mike.
Get the Fuel Fed in there. Yep.
Hello, sir. Yeah, stand up, get it nice and proud. I know I almost changed my shirt because it matches my skin to like way too much. It's almost like a weird nude thing.
Do almost look naked, Ryan. All right, so Mike, welcome to the show. We have an audience of 3 watching live, but
hey, we gained like 2 or 3 viewers when we brought him on, so thank you.
Well, no, I mean, I can relate. I mean, when I first started Fuel Fed, we had 6 cars the first time, and then the end of last year we had like over 100, and by 100, not talking about 25-year and older classic European cars. So a lot of Porsches, Ferraris, Jaguars, Triumphs, Saabs, weird, different, unique things you just don't see anywhere else. And so then this year, kind of with that was kind of at capacity for our old space. So went and expanded that. So went and worked with the city of Boulder. So now we have 2 full blocks of Pearl Street and kind of the street we used to have, 8th Street. So now we have a capacity of closer to about 150 cars. So trying to kind of open the gates, let everyone come if they want to come, but trying to keep that type of car. And what that kind of creates is a pretty unique environment. And like I say, you get things that people don't bring to any other event, right? So there's either people here in Boulder or just people in kind of the Colorado area that I've either built like a personal relationship with, or just gotten to know the event, and they've either brought other cars or heard about it from a friend or something. And it's kind of a safe space for what I like to say is kind of things people don't really bring anywhere else.
Yeah, a curated gathering, for lack of a better term. It's always nice to see the not normals, come out of the garage.
Yeah, and what I always kind of say, there's like, you'll never see 2 of anything until you do. And like this time we had, technically not exactly the same, but a Testarossa and a 512, right? So you're able to sit there and look at the pair of them and see what the differences are. We had 3 ice cream metallic Porsches. That's, I think one guy was saying he bought his turbo new in Europe in 1984, and he's never seen another car in the flesh that color. There's 3 of them, right? So it's kind of cool.
Especially because he bought it overseas and now it's here.
Yeah. It's a fun spot. I mean, so there's good coffee immediately right there, a block away. There's food, there's bathrooms. It's a cool spot. We actually shut the street down so it's closed to public traffic. So you can come in, you park, and kind of mull around, see friends, check out all the cars, talk to the owners. There's a great kind of collage of just the variety of stuff.
So what sort of background work did it take to get all this together? Because you mentioned they actually closed down the streets. So are you dealing with the city, the police, both?
Correct. Yeah. So working with go through like the full Boulder permitting process. Even last year went through the process of turning Fuel Fed into an actual business entity, so I could get insurance, so I can get a business ID to do business with the city of Boulder and shut down the street. So that's not easy. It's not something that one does just overnight, but it's something we kind of believe in, kind of going above and beyond and creating something that's a bit different. I mean, as everyone goes to a lot of parking lot shows and things of that nature, there's just a different vibe. It's of a kind of a street show, and just being in that spot within Boulder is just a pretty special spot. Yeah.
Well, and like you said, 6 cars was your first thing. Maybe, I'm thinking you didn't close down 2 city blocks at that point, but nope. the city gets to know you, the county, the government involved, the entities, local law enforcement, and the people. Eventually they get to know you, they get to know the event. So I can only assume that smooths things out over time, making it a little easier to put this together.
Yeah, so this is year 5 that we've been doing this. So I've built a strong relationship with local business owners, with not only the people in government, but like the people that work with the government to put on events and things in Boulder and in the area. Really, to me, it's really about the community. So not only the car community, and local shops and people and things like that, but also like just the local businesses, right? Just the vitality of Boulder itself. Excuse me. So again, like, working with these local businesses to, drive extra business to them on, Sunday morning, when typically is a pretty quiet spot in Boulder.
Yeah, I was gonna ask, I was curious. Have you ever had a business reach out and say, "Hey, will you do an event with us?" because they understand the value in the extra foot traffic?
So we do work with different sponsors. It's kind of like the primary way that we raise money to close down the street and things like that. And so we'll work with those businesses. Shout out to Auto House Boulder, Sorbent, and Gloss Wash. So we'll go do drives and end at Gloss Wash, for example, in their detail studio. And then kind of they've got coffee up front, so they'll give everyone coffee tickets, and then have some food, and it's a good time after you've gone and done a 2-hour drive with maybe 25 other classic European cars. And again, there's just a different vibe, there's a different feeling when everything is older. Like we do split the groups up. When you do a drive, we do try to split those groups up into different speeds. So you got, one of these Testarossas is very, very frequently on the drive, and it'll be one of the faster groups. But then, we have Citroens and Triumph TR4s that are regulars that we have in a slower group, so everyone can have fun, still tag along and enjoy the morning, and then kind of get that camaraderie and hang out kind of at the end of it. And we do get like a few newer cars that'll kind of come and hang out, but yeah, so we just have, now that we're in year 5, we kind of become known as the place to go bring your wilder stuff. So we've had Bugattis, we've gone through all these Porsches here, F40, like we've had fun stuff, and so there's a little bit of kind of work in the background every single time, every single week, or a month to just see who's coming, see what cars are going to be on the way, and make sure we got a good spot for them, et cetera, et cetera. But a lot of it's just kind of a build it and they will come mentality.
Yeah,
well,
I love.
You're in year 5, so they've been coming.
Yeah, and keep coming back. And I think one of the things that I love about Fuel Fed, which, spoiler alert, full disclaimer, I am actually a member of Fuel Fed. So if this seems like a little bit of a propaganda piece, it is, because it's a great group. And they have some great events. And there is actually a membership tier as well, which I think you were alluding to a little bit, Mike, where you have these monthly coffee and classic events. And that's kind of the pipeline where anybody with a 25-year older European sports car or a luxury car is welcome to show up. And like we were saying, it can be literally anything and everything from your Bugattis and Porsches and Ferraris, Maseratis, all the way to a $10,000 Saab or a Alfa Romeo Spider or something of that nature, or a diesel Mercedes from the diesel Mercedes wagon from the 80s, or something cool and unique like Triumphs or rare Alfa Romeos.
We had a row of 6 Citroens last month. Just kind of think, like, when was the last time you saw 6 Citroens anywhere in real time, like real life?
All running and driving. That's the most important.
And there's might have seen 1 or 2 in an old yard, but not 6 running and driving. Yeah, and you mentioned the Saabs. Like, I have a soft spot for old Saabs.
Oh yeah.
I had a friend in high school that had I don't remember what one it was, but it was cool. And the guy that used to run Pikes Peak, I can't even think, Pikes Peak Sports Cars Club. That they would do autocrosses, and he helped the Colorado Rallycross group 10 or 15 years ago organize some ice races in Rainbow Falls. And he had some old, just beater. I mean, it was beat, but he'd race it out on the ice. Some old Saab. I'll never remember for the life of me what it was, but
There you go.
it was old.
Probably
It was
a
a classic
900.
little 2-door or something.
Or 99. Yeah, it could have been a 99.
My second car was my grandpa's bought new 1984 Saab 900 in Boulder, actually. So yeah, I've a very, very, very soft spot for Saabs and green cars, because that's like a hunter green car with like the tan cloth interior. Like, and they don't exist anymore. They're all gone.
Yeah, so that's a good segue, Mike. So tell us a little bit more about yourself and your background. I think you're a Colorado native, but you spent some time in Chicago, which is kind of how you got involved with Fuel Fed, and then kind of exported that from Chicago back to Boulder. So tell us a little bit more about that story. I'll stop sharing all.
I'll try to bring that back around. Make sure to hit the membership bit. So if I lose track and don't hit the membership, we'll
plug it.
So Fuel Fed was a group that started in Chicago. So I was born and raised in Denver. My grandparents were in Boulder, so I kind of a soft spot for the area. Always loved this part of the country, or this part of the world for that matter. And then ended up in Chicago, kind of through school and college, and then did a career there. And then in 2020, with COVID and all that, I finally had an opportunity to move back to Boulder. And got here, and it's during COVID, and didn't know a single person. My background is new product development and marketing, and was kind of trying to figure out what to do, if you will, and started just seeing interesting, cool cars in and around Boulder. It's like there's a little bit of money here. It's not a secret. And so it's like, okay, wait a minute. I think there's something here. And so I called out my friend Brian. So I'd been a member of Fuel Fed in Chicago, which is a group that really started kind of in 2010 doing basically this format. It was a street shutdown in Wilmette, Chicago, in north side of Chicago. And over 15 years, he's kind of become the place where, again, all of the top quality cars in Chicagoland go to his events. So when I was out here, I volunteered at his events, gone on his drives, helped coordinate drives, all of that kind of stuff. So I called him up and said, hey, wait a minute, I think if you give me, a poster, I think I've got a good spot. I think I can do this. So I literally got a poster, went around to a couple local shops, and a handful of people I knew around that, walking a dog or what, driving by, you see someone's got a cool car in the garage, right? So you go just kind of leave a flyer. And that started as this small group, and now we've grown now this Boulder one up through into year 5, and we do about 125 cars this last event. And continues to grow. It's just a fantastic group of people. It's kind of a destination. We do it the last Sunday of the month, so this one's actually going to be May 18th, just due to Memorial Day. So that's the Sunday coming up, and we do it 8th and Pearl. You're looking at you can Google Fuel Fed Boulder, and then it'll pull up the site that you're looking there. You can also follow me on Instagram on Fuel Fed Boulder. So then think of this as kind of the main input event, kind of the way to come in and hang out, get introduced to Fuel Fed, see what it is. To me, it's really important that we actually do the event kind of in person and hang out. That's a huge element of it. Really try to not have a massive online presence, kind of beyond just spreading the word and knowledge that the event is happening. So I think that's really, as car people, to me, let's do it in real life with our cars. So with that mentality, we also coordinate drives that'll usually start in and around Boulder, go through 2 or 3 hours, end up in either one of our sponsor businesses or a fun brunch spot. And it's usually fun roads that aren't as well traveled. So I think, Jason, you've come on a couple, and I think there's always a chunk or a little section that is kind of like, okay, don't tell anybody about that one.
Right. Yeah, there's definitely a secret sauce to your route planning and mapping. And it's not like, when you get a little bored of going up Deer Creek Canyon or Golden Gate Canyon, for the nth time, it's like, oh, this is something, it's fresh routes and really cool vistas and just good group of people. I think that's the thing for me that attracted me to Fuel Fed. I literally just dropped in one day because I had seen stuff on Instagram, and I thought, oh, 20, classic European cars, like that sounds cool. And it just felt like such a low key vibe, it's like a group of friends that you're hanging out, and you don't know, the first time you show up, you don't know anybody, but you instantly have something in common with everybody else who's there, because you can all geek out on each other's cars, and that's the coolest thing.
Oh, cool. Yeah, no, I'm really glad you said that. Yeah, because it is just, it's a gathering of friends, right? And it's, if it's not, going with your 3 or 4 of your friends, and enjoying the drive over there. It's running into friends that you either, were expecting to see or haven't seen forever, or making new friends, and then, continuing to see them month over month. But yeah, it's really a fantastic group of people. I was going to say, like, it's easy to just say, hey, go and let's do a car event, but it takes a lot of people to show up and take part.
Yeah, it's a real community feel. You feel, and like you said, you see the people there. Sometimes people that you only see at Fuel Fed, but you remember each other. You remember each other's cars. Maybe you brought something new this time. Oh, hey, there's a cat.
Yeah, cat butt. Sorry, cat butt.
So I will come back around. So I will come back to the membership thing. So so all of the events that we've discussed so far, we put on, like the Coffee and Classics are free for anyone with a 25-year and older classic European car. The drives, once you get on the email list, which I'll come back to in a minute, so fuelfedboulder@gmail.com. Once you get on the email list, you can sign up for the drives. They're $25. And again, just a few hours of your morning. And again, the idea here is just really cover the costs and have a good time. We do have the membership level is kind of the way that kind of this is crowdsourced, if you will, and kind of to pay for barriers and insurance and all of that. And so what we do, we got 3 levels of membership now. We're kind of doing a founding 100 individuals. We're down to about 25 more, and I think we'll probably even shut it off maybe at the end of May. Just
nice.
Anyway, just saying, hey, we've done enough. We've got, and you can sign up at 3 different levels. So if you want more information about that, again, send me an email at fuelfedboulder@gmail.com, or a note to fuelfedboulder on Instagram. We'll get you on the list, or if you want that information, I can send you the link. There's a lot more information there. Again, like all of that money goes towards putting on the events, goes towards insurance, goes towards permits, goes for all of that. Like nobody's getting a salary. Nobody's like getting like fees, all of that kind of stuff. No, it's like every single dollar goes back into the events. It's really just a way that I don't have to pay out of my own pocket for it. So
totally reasonable.
I'm happy to commit the time and then the energy, but it was like one step too far.
But I could use some help with the finances
too. And it's not insignificant. Like we spend a lot of money to really try to put on, a top quality event, like something that is not something that really someone else can just easily do. Right? There's kind of some magic and some extra energy that goes into that.
Definitely. Yeah. No, that's. Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Mike.
No. Just you got the email rolling. Perfect.
Yeah. We have a very limited degree of technological sophistication on this show, and that scrolling banner is about the apex of how advanced we are.
It's not Comic Sans. Like if it was Comic Sans, then like it'd be better. But
in that case, just pull the microphones, pull the plugs. We're done. No. But yeah, no, I think that's. Like you said, there's so many different aspects to Fuel Fed, from free all the way to actually being a member. And there are like certain member events, social events throughout the year. Then there's, I think once in a while, you'll do a spontaneous combustion, which is like a pop-up car show, not scheduled. It's like whoever can come. And I love the name of that, spontaneous combustion. It's like, well, I hope your MG or your Morgan or your old Lancia, they don't spontaneously combust.
Yeah, no, I think Brian, the guy who created Fuel Fed in Chicago, is really good with the naming. So we collaborate on a few of them, but he gets credit for most. The spontaneous combustion is super fun. Basically, what I'll do is about 48 hours ahead, I'll send an email out and post on Instagram that, hey, let's go here at like 6 p.m. on like a Wednesday. And it's like, okay. And whether we got 4 cars or 60 cars, who knows, who cares? Like no limitations to what. It doesn't matter. Usually pick a fun spot. I'm not going to say where here, so maybe another hook to follow me on Instagram, send me an email. But cool, interesting, unique spots, that are really kind of a special spot to kind of find yourself, at sunset or at an appropriate time.
And you get a mystery grab bag of cars and attendees at that point too, so that's cool. Who, like you said, who can make it? Let's go. Let's do it.
Flash mob, flash car show.
You're once again getting into that spontaneous combustion of vehicles with a flash mob.
I try to avoid that. Try to keep it in name only.
Yeah, and it is interesting. It is very cool because obviously, like you alluded to earlier, this event did originate in the Chicagoland area. So you've got the groups kind of in Barrington, Hinsdale, Winnetka, that whole area. But then there's an offshoot in Fort Lauderdale, right? There's Door County, Wisconsin, which isn't too far from Chicago. But it's like now there's one in Michigan. So now we've got here in Boulder. So I think it's great, and I hope that there are additional offshoot branches of Fuel Fed that pop up all across the country. I think it's, such a cool, it's a unique event, right? Because it's like there is kind of a barrier where you're saying like, all right, it's got to be something classic, it's got to be something European, but within that it can be anything from an $8,000 beater to a $300,000 car that's run the Colorado Grand, or done some been shown at Pebble Beach or something of that nature. So it's really just runs the whole spectrum. And our friend Ryan here, our co-host Ryan, he unfortunately only owns Chevy Berettas. So maybe he could come just because his car has an Italian name. It's a, it's a.
I have a European converted one. But so that's a few parts that got slapped on it.
That's like a European market one.
Yeah, well, I won't get going. Jason knows. They made like 3,800 of them for the European markets with different headlights, tail lights, like side markers in the fender flares, fog lights in the rear bumpers, just dependent on the road laws wherever they were going to end up. So yeah, I have the most complete European conversion outside of the European countries.
There you go.
But
well, I think
still looks like a Chevy Beretta.
I think that should qualify.
We'll bring it by. We always have kind of room for there's always some overflow room, and it's kind of non-qualifying. And so, I kind of say this jokingly of like, that's where the GT3 RS's Weissach packages park, and like the
McLarens.
All the brand new McLarens when they show up, like all of the stuff that's $500,000 plus, or just unobtainium, or like the coolest of the coolest of the cool, but brand new. It's like, no, over there.
Yeah, you park all that fanciness in the back corner, please.
Yeah, so it's even the overflow is kind of usually just a fun thing.
Yeah. Well, and then so personally yourself, Mike, I think you actually used to be a Corvette guy. Is that correct?
I'm converted. Yeah.
And then
I appreciate and respect the Beretta. So I restored two 1970 Corvettes. Really enjoyed those, and then kind of, I don't know, just kind of was done with it and moved on, and kind of wanted something different, I guess, just from like an experience standpoint, and just different group of gathering. And I mean, definitely influenced by Fuel Fed, wanted to participate more in Fuel Fed events in Chicago. So I bought my first C36 AMG. So it's kind of one of those weird ones that most people don't even know exist, but it's the first year for AMG. You could get it from a Mercedes dealership, but it's still a pre-merger car that was built by AMG. So it's basically built out as a 280 Mercedes, and that like a C280, and sent over to AMG, totally kitted out, motor, brakes, interior, everything. Here. It's the car. It's got the monoblocks. So I got the 18s on this, so the 17s. And so that one was black. So I got that. Started doing all the Fuel Fed events. Then in 2019, I sold the black one and bought the red one you had up there a second ago. That's one of about 10 in red, of about 1,000 cars over 3 years. So a pretty rare bird, but like excellent condition. No rust whatsoever.
And manual swapped, right? Just recently.
Yep, minor detail. Yeah, so it's got a manual 6-speed swap, limited slip rear diff. Like I said, I got the 18-inch E55 AMG monoblock wheels, so 1 inch bigger, in chrome, so in period chrome, and HRE springs. So it's got stance and those little teeny bits of things kind of make it special.
Small details that really set something off like that, even if only you know what they are.
Yeah, I'm very much that way. Like I like really subtle changes where it's like, if you know, and like sometimes you gotta like really know, but never obvious.
What kind of power are we talking from that AMG power plant?
So they took the 2.8 and they bored and stroked it out to 3.6. So stock, they're about 280 horsepower, 280 foot-pounds of torque, and yeah, so right about there. But I mean, in a car that's just over 3,000 pounds,
healthy.
It's still like very, very stout. I mean, honestly, up until pretty recently, you couldn't get a sedan that was faster.
I'm willing to bet if we dug deep enough around like your closets or in your garage, we could still find a pair of New Balance shoes hiding somewhere, or like maybe some jean shorts
from the Corvette days.
From your vet days, yes.
White socks and the New Balance, yeah. So then I got the Healy. I get up there and so those are those rims, which I love. Like really, like, yeah. To me, like with the red, just really makes it stand off.
Oh yeah.
It's a little bit different if you can't see it on that car, or in that photo, but on the 43, that's a little bit later. Oh yeah, there you can see a little chrome trim at the very top, like on the actual body. On the C43, which is the V8 one that everyone kind of likes more, that's a body colored line, so you don't get that little chrome detail. But just little things about the C36 that I'm kind of partial to versus the V8 version that I think everyone's kind of more popular. So you can do some pretty cool things to those. But so then we got the Healy there. So then I've got a 1958 Austin Healy 106. So a car that's not super well known, but then it's the 2-seater, which makes it a pretty rare thing. So I did about 2,700 of these over 2 years, specifically for the U.S. market. Most of these you see have the 4-door or the 4-seat, and a little like the bustle back across the back. And this isn't a 3000. There's the other thing. Like everyone you see is a 3000. This is a little bit earlier than that. It's the Roadster style. So you don't get like the doors, like the windscreen's kind of attached at the top. You get the tan out, which is great. So it's also super cool about the car is it's delivered new in 1959 right here in Denver, and as far as I can tell, it's like never officially left the state. And I have every single piece of paper. It's never been restored. It was painted in 1962, which I have the receipt for, but it's completely original. Every nut, bolt, screw, everything.
Very cool.
There's a few bits of rubber and things like that. We've gone through it. And I just kind of make sure it's right and driving. And then, as you can see from the stickers, went and did the Colorado Grand with that last year, which is super fun. So it's kind of a bucket list type of adventure. And yeah, if you include the drive from Boulder up to the start and back, 1,250 miles, and we had $11 in parts, a ground strap and one busted hose. Which is in all things comparable, especially with the British car, like minor. But it's a super fun car, super comfortable, just super, really just a beautiful car. So, something that no one really thinks about or knows about, but just when you're driving it or just sitting on the street or just sitting there, it just catches a lot of eyes. It just looks pretty different than a lot of things.
And I believe similar to the Mercedes, where you have a lot of little details, things that you've done to it. But I think you said this one actually has a original upgraded exhaust, right? It's an Abarth exhaust system. Is that right?
Yeah. So the original owner who bought it in 1959 bought the car to basically take it on the Glenwood Rally, which is the longest running, which is another Colorado rally. It's the longest running, continuous running rally in the country.
Oh, wow.
So I think they're on like year 75-ish right now.
Cool.
And so this car inside the glove, like kind of where like the glove box would be, are 5 placards from 59 to 64 Glenwood Rally participation. So with that, and again, I got receipts and documentation of everything. He added an Abarth exhaust, added a aluminum valve cover, bought the Lucas headlights you see, or like the Lucas lights you see there. And also, like, the car is spec'd to absolutely every single option you get. Overdrive. It was originally Healy blue. It's now slightly different. The heater, absolutely everything. Then he added an oil cooler in period. There's a fantastic sticker right on the back, right where you can open up the compartment to look at the batteries. It's got ticker tape sticker that says batteries new October 1962. Just like, okay, cool. I'm trying to think of what else. There's a couple of like a upgraded ignition, like some really small things like that, like the Le Mans filler cap. I like the amber lights in the very front versus the white. So some really subtle, small stuff that, again, I've got basically receipts for and pictures from 1984 that show them all in place. So
that's amazing.
Be able to have that as a like I don't want to touch it. Definitely not going to upgrade it. Not going to change it. Not going to restore it.
Right.
I like driving around Boulder. Just a fantastic kind of drive, or kind of a slow car fast. Where there's a couple spots around here. Like I've got a little loop I call a La Boulder, about 3 mile loop, and you can go in there and you can basically hit top speed, 80 miles an hour,
yeah,
for all practical purposes, and like wave at a cop, like along the way, and it's just fun having something like that. It's just such a visceral experience that top speed is it'll top 100, but all practical purposes 80 miles an hour is about what it's doing.
Yeah. And who's going to pull you over when you're driving a Healy? It's such a fun car. It's not like it's not a brand new McLaren that's purple with, purple interior and, it's not a Lamborghini. It's a Healy. It's a classic mid-century, quirky little British car. Everybody loves a Healy or an MG or a Triumph or anything of that nature. So very cool. Very cool.
So that's the stable these days. It's always changing and evolving. Would love to add a Saab or love to add a Lancia, something like that. But there'll be room and time at some point. But yeah, enjoying those for now.
Absolutely. Well, thank you, Mike. This was great. We appreciate your time. Appreciate you coming on to educate our audience about Fuel Fed and some of the various events and aspects of the group that you guys offer. And yeah, just hearing about your car history. And yeah, I think it's great to know. It's great to know that there's so many different pockets of car culture here in Colorado. And it's like once you scratch the surface, you find all these little nuanced various niches that you can plug into. And I think Fuel Fed is I feel like it's one of those hidden gems. And obviously, like you said, it's grown to the point now where 150 cars, pretty solidly, pretty reliably in attendance. And yeah, I think it's like one of those things that you want it to grow, but you want it to retain that character and want to retain that community feeling, right?
So on that note, this will definitely be the largest we'll ever go.
Yeah.
Because it was the previous one was just too small. So this is now, I think, kind of the final form. And I think that'll help self-govern where it's big enough that, can kind of receive everyone who really wants to come and join and participate. Without having to, be there 5 minutes after it starts. So maybe take a second to say, so next one will be May 18th. So Sunday, May 18th, 8 to 10 in the morning, 8th and Walnut. Again, follow Fuel Fed Boulder on Instagram or email me at fuelfedboulder@gmail.com to get on the email list. I do a bunch of things on the email list that are not online, which I try to keep that within kind of a tighter circle, and try to do these in fun spots that you can't really get access to or do otherwise. And just coming back, I totally agree with you. There's the Colorado car culture is something special here. It's the weather, it's the mountains, it's the fact that cars don't just rust to bits.
That helps with classic cars.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, it's, I feel lucky that I feel like just I came out with a pickaxe, you know, took like one swipe and like hit gold, or like, you know, hit the proverbial oil, like one swipe. So like it's the cars, the people are here. I think like California, I think just has been on just sheer volume, but on like a per capita basis, I put Colorado cars up to anybody.
Yeah, and it's crazy because it's like you go there and there are people that come from Colorado Springs and obviously Denver metro area. It's not too far. There are people who come up, you know, who come down from the mountain towns. So it's more than just Boulder. It's obviously very Boulder centric, but the people that care and that know how great the group is, they will travel. And they will travel in some, you know, in all kinds of interesting cars as well. And yeah, I know there's Randy who works down at Porsche Colorado Springs. He was a Chicago resident for many years, and he sometimes attends Fuel Fed as well with his Boxster. So yeah, it's like people that know, they will make the journey. I've been trying to get my Z1 guy. Maybe maybe we'll get Mark from Colorado Springs. Maybe he'll come up one of these days, but he has quite the stable. But yeah, it's a great group, great community. Can't say enough good things about it. So
thanks for the time. Good chatting with you guys.
Definitely. Yeah. Thank you, Mike. And I'll see you next weekend. And maybe we'll even get Ryan with his Euro Beretta to show up.
I got to come and check one of these out. I'll park around the way. It doesn't matter.
Yeah, no, definitely come and check it out. It's a lot of fun.
Well, thanks again for your time, sir. Yeah. You got all your plugs in. I mean, and just thank you for creating the event. You know, we need more people like you to help keep the Colorado car culture happy, healthy, and thriving. So thank you for what you do with that.
Yeah,
thank you for your time.
Appreciate it. Have a good one, guys.
See you later, Mike. Oh, there we go.
Whoa, hey, coming and going.
All right, cool. Yeah, no, great event. Yeah, definitely can't say enough good things about Fuel Fed, and
I've always been curious about it, but now that I've heard him speak and I know it's older cars, you know, and European only, so I was like, yeah, okay, but then to hear him just talk about it, like,
well, I think your lady, I think your girlfriend would enjoy it because that was her background when she was growing up, right? In Germany with her dad working on Porsches and Volkswagens and BMWs, right? She was very involved. That's sort of like what, 80s era that would have been. So that's the sweet spot. I mean, I would say, you know, Fuel Fed in general is very Porsche. Like the meat of it is Porsche, and it's probably like 60s, 70s, 80s. But then beyond that, it's literally, like we were talking about, it's literally anything and everything from Citroen to Triumph and Alpha and Lancia and whatever.
I'm gonna
you
have
name
to look
it.
at that because I was gonna say like, oh, already busy, but it just so happens that the lady and I are going up into the Boulder area for brunch. On Sunday. So
all right.
Man, it's getting hard. We haven't had a good quality Sunday where we can just like wake up at our own leisure and just lounge there but maybe we'll have to skip it.
I mean,
we can go get up there for like at least the last 30 minutes of that before we sit down and have brunch.
Yeah. I mean, I would, you know, like Mike said, it does start at 8:00 this year. And I would say, you know, it's 8 to 10. So by 9:30, 9:45, a lot of folks start rolling out. I would say if you can get there by 9, then you're going to see the meat. You're going to see all the good stuff before a lot of folks start going about their day.
Yeah. Well,
so
I'll see what she has to say because I was planning on sleeping.
Well, go to bed a little early the night before.
And doing brunch like at lunchtime. So
yeah.
We'll figure it out.
All right.
Well, hey, we got a couple minutes. We got to cram some more info in here.
We have to talk about the Shift Summer Events Guide 2025. Let me share my screen.
I was going to say, I assume you have it queued. If not, I pull it up.
Look at that glorious Z1 on the cover. Oh, I guess I have to do this again, but that won't take more than a few seconds while that's loading. So this is a guide that I think this is only the second or third year that we've published this.
Third year.
Third year. There we go. So the whole the overview, the point of this is that there's, as Ryan and I were talking about at the very beginning, there are so many events going on right now. It is hard to keep track. So the whole point of the summer events guide is to sort of break down what are the most popular, the biggest, the most interesting events, sort of the top hits, if you will, the billboard top list of Colorado Cars and Coffee events, and just summarize each of the events in a way that gives you a sense of what to expect, what kind of cars are there. Is it a large event, small event? Is it public? Is there a fee to register or a fee to admissions fee, right, for a ticket or something? And then are there food trucks? Are there porta potties?
Family friendly? Can you bring, we try to cover a lot of information, so you really know what to expect before you've gone.
Yep.
Jason and I put the finishing touches on this year. However, year one, it was a very large full team Colorado Cars and Coffee administration or management, whatever you want to call it. Pure volunteer, by the way.
Mm-hmm.
A very large effort from a lot of the Colorado Cars and Coffee family to put this together. The articles have been written by people that have been there. The photos were taken by people at the event. We are looking forward to getting a larger head start on things next year. So we've got a lot more time to really freshen it up, take a deeper dive into some of the current events, get some new thoughts from the event hosts, possibly even attendees, add in even more events. We're not going to fill the pages with, I think there's one page that's Colorado Cars and Coffee events, so that covers that whole
literally at the very end
piece of our Colorado culture spectrum. But as Jason said, a lot of these are events that are larger, once a year kind of thing. As you can see, we have some racing event stuff in there as well. You see the Colorado SCCA Rallycross events in there. We cover some autocross. It's really shows, cruises, fundraisers, events. Always looking to expand, as we always are. So if you know of any events, even just a one-time, one-off thing, or if it happens weekly, monthly, let us know at newsletter@coloradocarsandcoffee.com. If you're interested, maybe we can get a spot in here that helps either cover your event as a whole, kind of like we do with the local Cars and Coffees, or if it's large enough, maybe you'll get a 2-pager in here. We'd love to hear from you.
Generally, like you can see here, every one of these, every page here will give you an idea of the date, the time. All these links are clickable. This is a free e-version, right? You go to shiftcoloradomagazine.com and click on the summer events guide tab, and you get this. It's a free mobile or desktop version, and all these links are clickable. They'll take you to the pages relevant to each of these events or organizations, and you'll see dates, times. You'll see if there's costs involved to participate or spectate, and you'll get a couple paragraphs summarizing what the event is all about. And here's some more of our great sponsors and advertisers who made the summer events guide possible. But it's all there. Like Ryan said, we want to make it every year. We want to make it bigger, better, more professional, more original content. So if there's new stuff that we missed this time around, let us know and we'll put it in our notes and get it in for next year. So check it
out now. 60 plus pages worth of stuff to do in Colorado that has to do with cars. That's why you're here.
That's it. And a mighty fine cover photo from Gunnar Ulrich of the Z1. So there you have it. What a perfect car for the summer as well. I think the Z1 might be the quintessential summer car, because not only is it a convertible, a roadster, the doors go down as well. So not only do you have open roof, but you have open cabin. You have no door. If you want, you can drive without the doors. So it's as close to sort of a motorcycle experience.
Just buy a Jeep.
Just buy a Jeep.
It's probably more affordable. That's
Or
all I'll
Bronco.
actually give it over that car.
Depends on the Jeep. It depends on the Jeep. Some Jeeps are,
That's true. One of my
Is it-
buddies has got one of the, I forget the model, but it's the big bad
392 V8. Yeah, those
Yeah, he
are
just keeps slapping more mods and stuff on it. He was at he was actually at the car show 2 weekends ago with us, and there was somebody else there that had similar models, so they buddied up real quick.
I just Googled MSRP for the Wrangler 392, the Wrangler Rubicon 392, and I would say actually that's pretty much in line with the value for a good Z1. So you could get a nice Z1, or you could get a Wrangler Rubicon 392 and have no doors, have a door-free motoring experience. So there you go. There's some consumer advice. If you want to drive without doors, you can either buy a Z1.
Just take them off. It'll
or-
work on any car, frankly.
Yeah. Even a Beretta.
I know. I get these thoughts running through my head. I'm like, I should drive one of these junkers around without the doors on it.
Mad Max, baby. Mad
Just
Max.
because I have seen somebody like Safari car, a Beretta, and it was cool. Actually,
Yeah.
here in Colorado. I
Oh,
met the
wow.
guy online. He didn't own the car anymore, but he had like a handful of photos. And I was like,
Nice.
dude, like he did it really well. Like, I think it was a gambler car, but it was like, it had a little more Safari action to it. It was lifted, no doors, no bumpers. The
Nice.
muffler, the exhaust like came up the side of the car, and the muffler was like on the rear quarter panel, like aimed out. Yeah, it was cool.
That's goofy. That's fun though. Yeah, I saw at Lafayette Cars and Coffee a couple times. I've seen a guy with a Safari Miata, like I think.
Yeah,
an
the
NA.
one with the like shark mouth on it.
Yeah,
I've seen that. I saw that car at the Good Guys show.
Yeah, he gets
last
around
year.
clearly. So yeah,
I would love to do that with a car, and frankly, I have a couple here that I really don't know what to do with. They won't really sell because they're not in daily driver condition by any means, but they run and drive. So yeah, I might have to take that on this summer.
nice.
I need to keep my idle hands busy this year. That's for sure.
There you go. Well, we are. How perfect is this? We're basically right at an hour and 2 minutes. I don't know. I think we should call it. I think we've run over a few times. I think we need to give the people a concise show. We talked about the summer events guide. We talked about Fuel Fed and Mike Burrows, and that was great to have him on and give us a little more of the background there. So yeah, hit up all the Fuel Fed socials, hit up the Shift Colorado summer events guide, check out our work, and keep the events rolling. You'll see obviously Ryan's the webmaster hitting the web with the posts, the social posts on Instagram and Facebook with the weekly events list, and then bi-weekly we have our newsletter coming out that's just getting dense. It is dense, and it's beautiful. I love to see, it's like in the winter time you hit like January and it's real Spartan. It's like,
Yeah.
you have about 5 or 6 things going on,
I
and
found
then
a couple other sources too, so
oh, nice.
just to track stuff from. And if anybody doesn't know, like we lean very heavily at promoting events that have an actual online presence,
Yes.
a website. We love if something has a Facebook event for it
Yes.
posted in the Cars and Coffee group, and it'll get seen. And we'll add it to our list to help you have a great show.
Help bring out more attendance.
If someone posts a flyer like in a car group that I'm in, or even our Cars and Coffee group, it might not get promoted. We really like to be able to have something to point our audience to and
Mhm.
tell them, double check the information before you leave the house. Real big, like in the last month as the snowstorms came and went.
Right.
Now we look at rain. It
Hail.
could be It could be heat. It could be 105, and they're like, we're not doing it because it's just going to be too hot.
Yeah.
But please, before you leave for an event, we've got 1 or 2 nasty messages from people that are like, I went and it wasn't going on, but it's a little
Don't shoot the
validated
messenger.
because they had some people are like, I drove 45 minutes, and I'm like, and you didn't think to check to make sure it was still happening? Like the one time, I think you were in on that conversation, Jason.
Mhm.
Steve showed us some messages. This guy messaged like once and was like, I went and it wasn't there. And then he messaged again, or he said this in the same message. He's like, that's twice I've gone out to this event and it wasn't there. And it turns out he had the wrong day. He went the wrong, and
User
he was trying to yell
error.
at us like, you guys keep promoting events that aren't going on.
Yeah,
And
that's
it was
user
like,
error, my
check the
friend.
date, bro.
Yeah. And literally don't shoot the messengers. We are merely the messengers. We do not host the events. We are not responsible for updating the Facebook event posts or anything like that. We just publish the list of things that are going on when we see them, and they change all the time. But that said, let's cross our fingers and toes. No major hail this year, and we've got a lot of good stuff going on. So let's keep those sunny skies and warm temperatures ahead, so we can look forward to a great season of driving and a great season of car shows and cruises and meets and all that jazz. And
All that jazz. Now go call your mom.
Go buy your mom flowers. Actually, my wife, she bought me this t-shirt, so happy Mother's Day.
To you.
Got the TT representing the T. I really wish it was a blue one and not a yellow one, because actually the yellow TTs are very rare. You do not see a lot of yellow ones. They only offered yellow, I think, for a handful of years towards the end of the Marks 1 production run. But anyway, you can get me going on TTs just like you could get Ryan going on Berettas. So I'm gonna pump the brakes, hit the ABS. And I think we should sign off before this turns into a 2-hour episode.
Yeah. Well, that's it, folks. Thanks for
all
watching. You can always replay YouTube, Twitch. I guess you could scroll through the Facebook page, not the Facebook group. It's our Colorado Cars and Coffee Facebook page. It's also in there. If you scroll down long enough, you'll find it. But with that said, we'll be back. It might change, but I'm looking at a calendar. Maybe Sunday the 1st, maybe for our next episode. If not, it'll be shortly thereafter, but you will see us next month.
It might have to be
hopefully-
the following weekend, because I will actually be at the Greenwich Concours in Connecticut with my dad that weekend.
There you go. Answered.
So,
It has been answered. You'll see us next month. Don't worry about it. It's not really a threat.
But I will have a lot to talk about after that event, I'm sure. That's a bit of a Tales from the Road travel log that we can get into more. But yes, early next month we'll be back right here. Same hosts, same haircuts, same cat rear ends.
Yeah. Hey. Yeah. I think I even got her on audio this time.
Lovely.
All right, guys. Well,
All right.
Happy Mother's Day to everyone that happens to be a mother or not. You could be a cat mom. It still counts.
Hey,
Happy Mother's Day. It's Sunday. Enjoy the rest of your evening. Wrap it up before you go back to work. And Jason and I will catch you next time.
catch you on the flip side. Peace.